This week's 5-star feature takes you back to a story we brought you in 2017. Quarterback Tanner McKee has loved football as long as he can remember, and the lifelong resident of Corona, California, always wanted to play for the Centennial Huskies.
He started playing sports at a very young age, probably around 5 if I remember right. Always loved football. I remember I bought him a set of helmet and shoulder pads when he was about 5 or 6. And we'd go in the backyard. I had an old helmet that I'd wear, and we'd hit a little bit, and he'd sleep in his helmet. He loved his gear.
Coach Matt Logan's done an incredible job. So I've always been really excited to come be a part of the program, and so that's kind of always been my dream to come play at Centennial. So it's nice that I'm finally here.
Tanner was an All-American quarterback in the 2018 class. He has a powerful arm to go with his 6-foot, 6-inch frame.
Being able to see over the offensive line or see linebackers or have a higher release when you need to for a throwing lane, it's just a good trait to have.
I think what gets understated a lot is his athleticism. So he's definitely a good athlete. He can run the football and do things there and create things with his feet.
Some of his greatest skills, I think, are intangibles. He's got a very calm demeanor. He's been like that his whole life. When you watch him play, you wouldn't know if his team was up by 40 or down by 40 type of kid. Doesn't get real high, doesn't get real low, which I think is crucial for a quarterback. I think what makes him good is that he's just a humble kid that has always worked really hard for what he wanted, and that's obviously paid off with time.
But all of Tanner's hard work to reach the top was put on hold after his sophomore season. It started when his mother noticed an unusual-looking mole on his forehead.
It was really kind of a fluke. He had a mole on his forehead that looked a little abnormal, but nothing that a normal, kid doesn't usually have. And for some strange reason, my wife kind of started monitoring it, and it was getting a little larger. And she's like, I'm going to take Tanner in and just have the dermatologist check this. And they did a little biopsy, and it came back that it was positive, tested positive for melanoma. And
I remember sitting in my room when my mom told me, and I was not really being able to soak it in or really understand what that meant when she told me that.
And that's when it got a little scary, because melanoma is a fairly aggressive cancer, and it can spread to organs and lymph nodes and really cause a problem if it's not taken care of. So after they ran the test, they determined that they were going to take a much larger portion of his forehead out to just be safe and hope that they got all the infected areas.
Yeah, it was really scary at first. I had no idea what it is. I never even heard of it before. But yeah, we're just really blessed that the doctors knew what to do, and then we had the technology to take care of it.
After successful surgery, Tanner was declared cancer-free, but he still had one other concern when he first woke up after his operation.
There's so many nerve endings up there. If the surgeon wasn't very precise, it could totally affect his throwing motion, and she told us that prior to surgery. And it's a great story. The first thing, I wasn't there, but my wife was, the first thing that Tanner did when he woke up after the surgery was make a throwing motion to make sure everything was working properly and still in good shape.
I just had a throwing motion to make sure my motion was back so they didn't cut a nerve and restrict my arm movement. So yeah, it was really nice because I realized that, and then the doctor came in and said everything's clear, you're all good now, you're cancer free. So it was kind of a win-win right there.
Tanner's impressive junior and senior seasons convinced colleges that he was still an elite prospect, but all the schools that offered him had to understand one very important thing. Tanner would not be enrolling at a college until 2020, as he was going to take a 2-year Mormon mission after high school. Tanner's been in Brazil for the past 2 years doing just that.
Mensagem sobre Jesus Cristo e Deus. Então, queria falar pouco sobre a confiança que temos que ter em Deus.
He chose to do that at a young age. He's a kid of character and has always been, committed to promises that he's made, and so that was a choice that he made, that he was going to, serve a mission for his church.
Well, I feel like I've been blessed a lot, athletically, obviously, and so I feel like I need to use my talents for good. So if he's blessed me with this, so it's kind of my way to give back to him so I can have a positive influence on people.
At the time, we didn't know he was going to be as good as he is and have the success that he's had in football. So I'm just, as a father, I'm proud that hasn't changed his decision to put God first and do what he feels he needs to do.
His mission work concludes this spring, and he'll return home in May. Shortly after that, he will be enrolling at Stanford, the school he signed with back in 2018.
I think it's phenomenal, and that's what he's believed in. And I asked him from day one, and And it actually, I think it kind of hurt his recruiting a little bit in the beginning. But in the end, I said it's going to be the schools that are the right fit for you, and that's absolutely what's happening.
It's really nice when coaches respect what you believe and what you've been planning for your whole life, so it's just nice that they back me up on that.
As a young man who's committed to his faith, his family, and football, Tanner will be worth the wait for the Cardinal football team.
From a quarterback standpoint, I think he's one of the best starters who've ever been in this area, and I think he'll prove that. Like I said, his learning curve, and because he is so young, and he's not close to where he's going to be. Athletically, he's just only going to get bigger and better. He's not maxed out by any stretch of the means. And then as far as his development, like I said, his learning curve from a sophomore to a junior year and to this year to a senior year has been phenomenal. So I only expect that to keep going exponentially as he moves up the ranks.